Hello, I'm Karate, and this is the third and final video discussing Patrick DeWitt's The Sisters Brothers. This video is probably going to be a bit shorter than Jessica's video and Jason's video, as I'm just going to be addressing Jessica's main question, which was also Jason's main question, and then discussing some other things. I'm not going to explain too much about the book because Jessica and Jason have already done that. If you haven't watched their videos, please click away and watch their videos here. Jessica's is first and then Jason's. It will open in a new tab, so you won't miss anything. There will be spoilers, so if you haven't read the book or you don't want things to be spoiled a little bit for you, then maybe don't watch this video. I'm just going to get right into addressing Jess's question, which is about the intermissions and the little girl who kills the dog and then later tries to kill Charlie, sort of. As I was reading the book and I got to the intermissions, my first thought was, what the hell does this have to do with anything? I just felt like it was something that didn't mean anything at all, and I just ignored it and kept reading the book. And you can't ignore them and keep reading the book, and you don't miss out on anything. They aren't critical to the book, and that nothing significant plot-wise happens. The intermissions for me didn't really do anything. I just sort of ignored them. I read them and I thought, oh, that's weird. And then I figured, he's just writing. He's just writing his book, and this is where it felt natural for him to go. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It doesn't signify anything. It's not symbolic of anything. So I just ignored it, and I didn't feel like I missed out on anything else in the book because of that. And when I was telling Adam about the intermissions, that was his thought also, is that he was just writing and he thought, hey, you know what? I'm gonna write this. And then he wrote it and then just moved on. And after finishing the book, I Googled forever and I just couldn't find anything. And then finally I found an interview with Patrick DeWitt. I'll link the interview below. It's just a bunch of people sent in questions and he answered them. Somebody asked what the intermissions meant, and he said, "It's common for me to write sections that don't serve a specific purpose but feel necessary to me. I can't say they propel a narrative or do anything, but I find them crucial in fleshing out the landscape, illustrating its strangeness and dangerousness." So there you go. They don't actually mean anything. They don't need to be there. They're not critical to the plot. But if you're reading and you read something into that, then whatever meaning you get out of those intermissions, there you go. That's what they mean. He didn't write them intending for you to feel a certain way upon reading them, and he didn't write it trying to convey some secret message. He didn't write it thinking this little girl symbolizes death and this dog is the innocence. It's just whatever you get out of it, which is great. In that same vein of strangeness, Jessica also asked about the curse. At some point, Eli and Charlie go up to this cabin and there's a lady in there, and Charlie and the lady kind of exchange words, but they spend the night there and they wake up in the morning only to find that they've been cursed. Well, if they leave the cabin, they will be cursed. There's like a thing, For me, I felt like the curse was there just to illustrate Charlie and Eli's relationship and the nature of their relationship. And I think it does a really good job of doing that. Eli is trapped in this cabin, and if he runs out, he's going to be cursed. But then here comes a bear trying to eat his horse, and he just rushes out there to save his horse. But Charlie comes back and Eli's life is in danger, and he won't risk running through the door and cursing himself to save his brother's life. Charlie uses Eli for his explosive rage, his lack of control, and his protection, because Eli is essentially protecting Charlie, and he says that at some point in the book. He can't count the number of men he's shot just because they're pointing a gun at Charlie. On the other hand, Eli kind of admires Charlie for his coolness and his logic and his ability to remove himself, but he also doesn't really like it very much. He wants a closer relationship with his brother, and he's just never gonna have it. And that specific event brought back a quote from the beginning of the book, which really stood out to me. "I lay in the dark thinking about the difficulties of family, how crazy and crooked the stories of a bloodline can be." And that, for me, really sums up the book. It is a fun adventure story about sensitive cowboys with neuroses, as Jason said, but to me that's really what the book was about: family and the relationships and bloodlines, crookedness, that kind of stuff. And the big happening in the book is this relationship is just sort of turned on its head, but the only one who comes out kind of unscathed is Eli. I mean, they come out completely broke, but Eli, the one who rushed out to save his horse through the doorway, thereby cursing himself, he's the only one who is unscathed. So it's not clear throughout the book whether or not he believes he actually is cursed. He says a couple times I think he may be, but maybe it wasn't a curse. As for Jason's point about the beavers, clearly this is symbolic of the United States holding Canada down. Obviously. I'm just kidding. Don't freak out. I'm just kidding. But kind of related to the story and the topic of family and bloodlines, beavers are monogamous, they mate for life, and they have nuclear families. Sometimes older siblings stay on to help raise the young ones. Beavers. That is the main discussion point for this video for me. I just wanted to respond about the more magical elements of the book. The curse, which I think is there just to further illustrate their relationship to you. I wonder how many more times I can say illustrate. And then the intermissions, which I thought served no purpose. They meant nothing to me. I got nothing out of them. The intermissions can just be whatever you want. I sat and I thought about it and I could not think of anything that they meant to me. I didn't get anything out of them. So you should let us know what you think of the curse and the intermissions. Did you get anything out of the intermissions? What's your interpretation of the curse and the beavers? For August, we're going to be discussing The Year of Finding Memory, and you should read it and get ready with us and discuss it with us. See you next month. Bye.